Jesmon. One of the most hated decks of its time, that Bandai warranted a limit on one of its Digivolution pieces. This deck was one of the most annoying decks for me to play against, mainly because prior to an Ancient Greymon OTK, this was Red's primary OTK deck. With Saviorhuckmon now limited, there was less opportunity for Jesmon to go in with 2 to 3 security checks on one swing, 2 to 3 for another with the Unsuspend, and then Blitz Omnimon for the game. But what changes have been made since? In today's Meta Monday episode, I go over Royal Knight's Revenge. This build is less focused on the OTK aspect that previous players may be familiar with, and instead, goes over controlling the board. As always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more of my future content. For Royal Knight's Revenge, I'll be going over the card by card, the strengths, the weaknesses, and the combos. This deck runs 4 level 2s, 13 level 3s, 11 level 4s, 7 level 5s, 6 level 6s, 2 level 7s, 6 option cards, and 3 Tamers. For level 2s, this deck runs strictly Gurymon. Gurymon allows you to draw a card when your Digimon with 6000 DP or more attacks. In looking at my level 4s, Saviorhuckmon is the sole level 4 that can attack and net me a card. But while Gurymon is only applicable with Saviorhuckmon and higher level Digimon, card draw is important in my mind for finding my combo pieces. Although this deck is a control deck, I presently don't run Yokomon for the fact that the DP buff comes online enough that I don't care about this egg, and there aren't any other eggs that really mesh with this deck. For level 3s, this deck runs 1 Monodramon, 4 BT6-Huckmon, 3 BT7-Huckmon, 4 starter deck Guilmon, and 1 Sistermon Blanc. Monodramon is your single cheap 2-cost on-play body. Huckmons from BT6 and BT7 act as searchers to find your Jesmon, Huckmons, and Sistermons, or Sistermons in the case of BT7-Huckmon. Guilmon is your best rookie to play in the Rays, but after it's digivolved into, its inheritable is a free draw when your opponent's Digimon is deleted. You'll notice I run only 1 copy of Sistermon Blanc. This deck does not prioritize her, but having her up for blocking can be helpful. There aren't any substitutions I suggest for level 3s. Sistermon Blanc is very susceptible to multiple effects in today's meta, and can be easily dealt with whether it be bottom decked or just deleted outright. For level 4s, this deck runs 4 Saviorhuckmon, 2 Geogreymon, 1 Dino-Hyumon, 4 Sistermon Seal, and 2 Sistermon Awakened. Saviorhuckmon is the only Saviorhuckmon available for Jesmon decks, at this time at least anyway, unlike Tribal Greymon who has multiple Greymons in black and red to select from. Geogreymon at 2 copies for the security play, or just strictly an on-play to delete a Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Dino-Hyumon at a 1-tech copy for potentially giving Chimeramon 3 colors instead of 2. Funny enough, this 1-tech has been amazing and even provided enough DP reductions in conjunction with the Chimeramon that I'm able to Saviorhuck Digimon away too. The last 6 level 4s are all Sistermon, and the reasoning for running such a high level 4 count instead of Blanc and Blanc Awakened is because I want DNA targets. Seal gives me memory back and buffs my Royal Knights and all Huckmon Digimon on all turns by 2000 DP, and Awakened can potentially delete a Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less if I tuck a Sistermon Seal under her. In addition, on deletion, this Digimon can recover any 1 Sistermon, Jesmon, and Huckmon Digimon except Seal Awakened. The Seals are especially important with other cards in the deck, which I'll go over in the combos. For level 5s, this deck runs 1 Volcdramon, 2 Rise Greymon, 1 Saviorhuckmon, and 3 Chimeramon. Volcdramon provides that extra security check if you really want to go a little bit more aggressive, but Rise Greymon helps play your Taikamias for free and provides additional DP buffs for your Digimon to swing over other stuff. In the cases of Gallantmon and Omnimon, they might not necessarily meet DP thresholds. Saviorhuckmon is your MVP Digimon and is searchable off of your BT6-Huckmon, but is highly susceptible to bottom decking by BT7-Huckmon's inheritable. The last level 5 for the lineup is Chimeramon. With Chimeramon's release, I can see why Bandai would restrict Saviorhuckmon. The amount of Sistermon Seals that you can push out can be devastating, whether it be from option cards or Jesmon himself. Which means Jesmon decks had the capability of DNAing for game, or even recovering a starter deck Greymon for insane aggression. Again, not a lot of substitutes here because I'm going for a more control element than aggressive OTK. Which takes the deck to the level 6s and 7s. 3 members of the Royal Knights: Jesmon, Gallantmon, and Omnimon. Jesmon is your primary level 6 that can free play Sistermons regardless of their level to your battlefield. Then you can trigger any effects the Sistermon have. Gallantmon is a great Royal Knight for the aggression but also the DP buffs if you don't delete a Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Omnimon is the sole level 7 Digimon in the deck, which, when Digi-evolving, unsuspend itself and blitz. The amount of control you can do with Jesmon is insane, especially when Judgment of the Blade is active. While another Blitz Omnimon would be nice, I presently run 2, and the balance has been working out. For option cards, this deck runs 1 A Delicate Plan, 4 Judgment of the Blade, and 1 Crimson Blaze. A Delicate Plan is standard for most red decks that don't run BT1 War Greymon. There aren't many security control type decks right now, but this does heavily affect the blue matchups where Hammer Sparks, Memory Boost, etc. could come into play. But the real MVP option card of this deck is Judgment of the Blade. In total, this deck has potentially 6 security Digimon interactions, 2 Geo Greymon, and the 4 Judgment of the Blade, which can pop out Sistermons willy-nilly. But the best part, it adds it to your hand and lets you swing at your opponent's unsuspended Digimon next turn. And the last option card is 1 copy of Crimson Blaze, which can be pretty good against wider building boards if they try to rush you. Finally, the deck runs 3 Tamers in the form of Tai Kamiya. While Hero and Monokawa can add additional DP to your level 5 or higher Digimon, you already get enough buffs with Sistermon Seal, especially when chilling in the raids. Rather, Tai Kamiya is to give you those additional security checks to close out the game. For strengths and weaknesses, this deck's major strength is that you can swing into your opponent's Digimon given you have the proper conditions met. DP-wise, you rarely ever have to worry if you have Sistermon Seals up and active. Weakness-wise, this deck is prone to bricking, and while Memory Boost could be utilized, this deck does not for the fact that you can bottom deck key components like Sistermons, Chimeramons, and Omnimons. Deck testing, the deck played amazingly well against Reaper, Imperial Dramon, but had a lower win rate when played against Yellow Hybrid, and Mastamon. Mastamon is able to play high-level Digimon that can result in your board being popped, and hybrid decks make it difficult to target their Digimon, considering their Tamers typically stay put until they come out to play. For combos, this deck goes into your typical progression in the raise, from level 2 to level 3, and so on. Only until you're ready to push out, should you. Your security is a defense, housing Sistermon Seals, Judgment of the Blades, or Geo Greymons, which can potentially pop out onto the board. And if your opponent gives you 3 memory, you're set to Chimeramon with that level 4, and then go into Jesmon. If Saviorhuckmon was in the security or trashed earlier, even better. There's not a whole lot to discuss with combos because you're utilizing Jesmon to keep threats off the board. Judgment of the Blade is a huge MVP in this build because not only can Jesmon utilize it, but Gallantmon and Omnimon can as well. What are your thoughts on Royal Knight's Revenge? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow is another Tactical Tuesday episode featuring Hybrid Hate. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.